Hello and welcome to the Village Council meeting for Monday, June the 1st. Judy, if you could call the roll.
Indeed. DeVore Leonard.
Here.
Shu.
Here.
Samari.
Here.
Pierce.
Here.
We're expecting Carmen Brown in about 10 minutes. Also present is Village Solicitor Amy Blankenship.
All right. We're starting out today with an executive session. If I could get a motion to enter executive session under revised code section 121.22G1 to consider the evaluation or compensation of a public employee.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Judy, can you call the roll?
DeVore Leonard.
Yes?
Shu.
Yes.
Samari.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll go into executive session. We're going to stay here, and then we will go from there.
Just grab him.
All right, hello and welcome, technically back. We were just in an executive session to the Monday, June 1st Village Council meeting. If I could get a motion to enter regular session.
So moved. Second?
Great. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Sinai is here, but
He's on an important phone
on
call.
an important phone call. Be right back. All right. So yeah, we did call to order, roll call, and now we'll move on to regular session. And the first item up is announcements. Are there any announcements?
Great. I'd just like to share a line about in a series of events that starts today called the Immigrants Feed America. This is starting today, continuing through Saturday. We have some really great activities that are all about celebrating, recognizing the contribution of immigrants to American identity, culture, and cuisine. And one of the things we're doing is a community mural painting. So that's Thursday and Friday. There's different blocks of time. We're going to have a street party in Keith's Alley on Saturday night. And all of these events are around two amazing speakers who are coming to the Foundry on Friday night. Jose Antonio Vargas and William Lopez are nationally known, recognized immigration rights activists and scholars. So I encourage everyone to check it out and get more information and join us for the celebrations.
Great. Any other announcements? Okay. Next up is the consent agenda. We can take a motion for both items, the minutes for May the 18th regular meeting and the work session, if anyone is so moved.
So moved.
Second.
Great. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right. Moving on to review of, review of the agenda, the place where we would make any adjustments to the agenda as it's set up right now. Are there any questions or suggestions? John?
I'd like to pull the geothermal and bring it back next time after we've had a chance to work on it some more.
Okay. Anybody have any opposition to that? All right, so we'll be taking off
Ordinance 2026.
that one, 2610.
Oh,
yeah.
10, sorry.
Yep, and moving it to the next agenda. Okay, anything else on review of agenda? All right, then moving on to petitions and communications. Angie, if you don't mind.
We have Stephanie Pierce regarding draft letter of request for traffic review East Enon Road, and Michelle Robinson regarding draft budget calendar.
Great, thank you. And so on the letter that Stephanie shared, we have kind of two choices here. One, we can go, yep, sounds good right now, and then we would make any minor edits, and then I would sign it on our behalf, and then we would get sent. Option two is, if you want any more discussion than that, then we would need to add it to new business. So I think I'm in the fine to sign it camp. Are y'all all in the same boat, or does anybody have any things they need to discuss? Totally fine if you do. Okay, so I'm seeing, we can sign it. Do we need to make a motion or anything, or just, is that good?
Amy, you
Amy
and your
always likes
motions,
motions.
go on,
All right.
go on and weigh in there.
So
You okay with that?
if somebody could make a motion to finalize and sign the letter that Stephanie had in the packet related to East Enon Road traffic review.
So moved. Second.
Great. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right. So now, now we'll move on to citizen concerns. And now I'm going to read my page. Okay. Citizen concerns are set aside as a place for citizen comment on anything you wish to share for council consideration. If your comments are regarding a second read ordinance, they should be made during the public hearing for that ordinance. Public hearings are clearly noted on the agenda. Persons wishing to address council at any time during the meeting, including citizen concerns, should provide first and last name and association with the village, like resident or business owner, etc. Please try not to repeat previous comments. If something has already been shared, you can note agreement. In the interest of time, you will be asked to move on if a topic has already been covered at length. Council wants to provide a thoughtful and responsive answer to questions which can be difficult in the context of a meeting, so you are unlikely to receive a response during the meeting. At the conclusion of council concerns, if there are clear, concise responses or information to provide immediately, we will do so, and we will identify any follow-up needed for concerns or questions that can be addressed. And then also, just the mic is already set, so even if you're like taller or shorter, just leave it where it is, and then it'll pick up well for the cameras and the folks that are watching at home. So those are the protocol, and are there any citizen concerns? Go ahead.
Hello. My name is Jill Pauley. I'm resident over on North Winter, and I am also a frequent visitor of the Yellow Springs Dog Park. And I'm here representing on behalf of many of the members that I call the regular dog park people, requesting funds for improvements to the dog park. I drafted a letter and sent it to the Yellow Springs Community Foundation to request the availability of funds, which I learned there are funds. I also recognize that the park is owned by the village, managed by the village, so it would need to be a collaboration between the Community Foundation and the village. I'm here today to read the letter that I sent to the Yellow Springs Community Foundation, just so that you're aware of what we're asking about, ahead of a meeting that I understand, based on Johnny Burns' response today, thank you for the quick response, Johnny, of a meeting coming up a week from today with the Dog Park Committee, Councilmember Brown, and I forget who else you said, Johnny, but staff. Okay. So for awareness and also just your own understanding of what we're asking for, I'm going to read my letter. I'm writing on behalf of the regular patrons of the Yellow Springs Dog Park at Gaunt Park to express our sincere appreciation for this valued community amenity and to respectfully request consideration for funding specific improvements. For many patrons, the park serves as a daily resource that supports the physical well-being and social engagement of both dogs and their owners, such as myself. It is consistently used throughout the year and plays a meaningful role in promoting community interaction while contributing to Yellow Springs' identity as a place for recreation and connection. Since its establishment in 2021, the dog park has become both a well-utilized public space and an extension of Yellow Springs' broader attractions. It serves as a welcoming gateway to visitors and those new to the community, offering a positive introduction to the village's character and sense of connection. Its strong public ratings further underscore its value as both a local asset and a regional destination. Check out its Google reviews, 4.9 stars, FYI. In order to build upon the park's continued success and ensure its accessibility and usability in all seasons, we respectfully request funding for the following improvements. Shelter, to provide shade and protection from weather conditions, thereby increasing usability year-round. People such as Carmen can probably attest. It doesn't offer a whole lot of shade at the park, so it can get quite hot for both the owners and their dogs. Also, during windy seasons, snowstorms, we are there every single day with our dogs because regardless of how cold or hot we are, our dogs still need exercise, so we weather the conditions regardless of what it is. A shelter would be most helpful. Additionally, an all-season pathway extending from the entrance gate to the park's interior access points. It does get quite muddy, especially all the rain that we had recently, and it really creates a mess and it sometimes even deters people from entering the park. We believe these suggestions represent a relatively low-cost opportunity to support a highly utilized village asset while further enhancing the experience of both residents and visitors. We understand that budgetary resources may be available for park improvements and believe these enhancements would represent a prudent investment in a widely used and highly valued community space. This request reflects the collective input and support of dozens of regular users of the park who contributed to the development of this letter. Thank you for your time and consideration. Respectfully, Jill Pauley.
Thank you.
Also, my dog wanted to be here, but he had,
Disengagement.
he's at the dog park, actually, with my husband, so. But thank you for hearing me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Others? Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm April Wolfer. I'm a community member and also a local business owner, and a member of the Yellow Springs Pride Planning Committee, along with their fellow representative Stephanie Pierce over here, great colleague. And I'm here to make an announcement about Pride and let you know that the Pride event will be held, as it is traditionally, on the fourth Saturday of the month. This year it's on the 27th. It'll run from 11 a.m. until 5 p.m. We'll have a parade again this year, which is very exciting. I know Carrie is out there rustling up parade people every day, actually. We'll welcome walkers, floats, bicyclists, golf carts, roller skates, however you want to come on, show up and show your pride. You can do that there at the parade. The festival will be in front of Mills Lawn, as it usually is, although right now there's construction, as everybody knows, at Mills Lawn, so we're making adjustments around that. So there'll be a new layout for the festival and a slightly rerouted parade route. So take a look at the website for details on that, and we'll have the route and everything published there. You can also see at the website, you can sign up for a vendor booth, you can make a sponsorship, you can volunteer, you can sign up for the parade. And on behalf of the Planning Committee, we want to express our deepest appreciation for the support of Village Council and of the village staff. Every year, the police show up for us, facilities shows up for us to make sure that the event is safe and well coordinated, and we truly appreciate that. In particular, we do want to thank the police and the facilities and all the security planning and all of that to make that event go smoothly, and the in-kind support in general that the village provides to us. So please join us. We'd love to see you all there. It'd be great if there was a contingent, if the village could put together a group to walk in the parade with us, or volunteer, or just come out and enjoy the festival with us. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, April. Thanks, April.
Yep.
Hello, I'm Judith Hempfling. Hi. I just wanted to follow up on the sidewalk policy discussion since I wasn't here then, and ask a couple of questions. I was reading the article in the newspaper. In it, Johnny was quoted saying, think about it this way, we are required to put in sidewalks if you build something new. Spring Meadows has new sidewalks. There will be a new one in front of the high school. The multimodal path on Dayton Street, these are all now ours to maintain. So one question, or one thing I realized when I was thinking about this, because initially I thought, yeah, well, that's a good point. And then I thought, yeah, but that's true of all the infrastructure. You know, the village has to assume the responsibility of the streets that are initially built by the developer, the electric infrastructure, the water and sewer infrastructure. It's just that for whatever reasons, a lot of municipalities, as part of their transportation system, a lot of municipalities have this responsibility on individual homeowners. It's not every municipality, but it is, I would say, a majority of municipalities do it this way. However, in our village, one of the problems is, I would say, I asked the question, I haven't heard the answer from staff yet, but that less than 50% of homes have a sidewalk in front of their house in this community. So anyway, I just wanted to point out, it's not different than any other infrastructure. I did send, and I should send it to Judy to put in the packet, a journal article about equity and basically the way to have really great maintenance of sidewalks, which they're arguing should not be on individual homeowners. And then the second thing that it said, Johnny said, every time a sidewalk is added, we're adding more labor and things for staff to do. I thought most of our infrastructure care is being done by folks that we're hiring. And so I'm curious, what exactly does this, how would this put extra work on the staff if we're hiring contractors to do that work? Maybe I'm misunderstanding that. And so that's my other question. To me, it seems like it could be more work for the staff because then you're chasing after money from individual homeowners. And to me, that seems like that could be a very difficult issue and actually add more work to the staff. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Hello, oh, I'm sorry. I got caught.
Next time, you'll get it.
All right, all right. Hello, my name is Mitzi Miller. I'm a resident of Yellow Springs. I support a ban on feeding deer inside the village limits. They have become dependent on humans. They've also led to more increase in deer-related nearby accidents and accidents. Feeding deer increase the unnatural congregation of deer and crossing streets. The congregation of deer can drastically increase the spread, or can increase the spread of fatal diseases like chronic wasting disease and bovine tuberculosis through direct contact and contaminated feed they're given. There is an increase in destructive plants and gardens to property owners. The expense of putting up deer fences that can be quite expensive. There's also the issue of more prevalence of deer ticks. Ticks hold onto the grass and shrubs and leaf piles and then can make direct contact to humans and pets. If we have the opportunity to make our village safer for our community members and our children and our pets, I support the proposal brought forth by Council Member Carmen Brown. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You have something, Ralph?
Hi, I'm Riley Dixon. I work for the local newspaper here in town. I really like the comments being ahead of legislation because I hope I can leverage this in like an appropriate way to ask questions that can be answered when you address each piece of legislation. I assume that might be the new structure, but I'm excited to learn more about the supplemental appropriations coming up. Specifically interested in hearing this, like the specific, who Tyco is and who BASF are, and what RECs are being purchased. I assume they're being purchased with the 233,000, or if they're being sold. The language made it seem like they were being purchased. So I'm excited to learn more about that and the specifics of that. I'd also be interested to know, with council going down to one meeting occasionally in the summer months, how that'll affect council stipends. It's a little disappointing that we won't have a manager's report until July. I'm probably a minority in the room for saying that I missed the first and third weeks having manager reports, but I'm also interested in learning about the motivations for the moratorium ordinance. Were we anticipating more smoke shops that this is attempting to stymie? How does this moratorium interact with the village's ongoing attempts to foster economic development? And the language kind of moralizes it in a way that I imagine existing shops might disagree with. Did Tweedledees, for instance, endanger the, quote, public peace, quote, welfare of Yellow Springs residents? I'd be interested to hear someone speak to that. And I'm excited to hear that there's a new draft of the Bowen study that staff's reviewing per the goals doc. I'm looking forward to the new loss in place pro forma, and I hope those documents can be shared when they're available. I'm also looking forward to meeting Ms. Holt. Congratulations. That's all. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks. Thank you.
Any other citizen concerns? Okay, all right. I don't think there's any follow-ups on those pieces, so, cool. All right. Okay, the next thing up is public hearings and legislation. And I guess since we're doing the emergency reading, we should do the, could I get a motion to only read the title on emergencies?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, so Judy, if you could read emergency reading of ordinance 2026-09 by title only, please?
This is a 2026 additional second quarter supplemental appropriations and declaring an emergency for the Village of Yellow Springs, Ohio.
Okay, could I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
Sinai did.
Oh, Sinai did, okay.
Speak right on up. Can't hear you down here. Thank you.
We're not supposed to touch the microphones.
Dude, it can pick you up from 5 feet away. You do have to speak, however.
Okay, so is this you, John?
It's me.
Okay, go for it.
I'm filling in for Michelle as she is in training in Sandusky all week. So the supplemental is for donations for the lifeguard training and certificates. That is for the pool. The next one is for reimbursement for new recruits, that we have in Police Academy. The one that Riley touched on, and I'm not going to be able to give you the exact names, but I'll give you the gesture is this is class action lawsuits that the village joined for people that caused the PFAS problems. So we've received 2 checks in the last month totaling $19,520.64. And hopefully more to come, but just coincidental, they come at the time that the high service pump went out, and it's a $17,000 repair. So got one, now we're spending it. So we actually are putting that back in so we can, the new pump has been ordered. The Antioch replacement line was paid in full, so we're putting that back in where we had taken it out so we can do the project we needed to. An insurance check come in for Ben's rental truck, and we've actually got the truck back. It's back in service now. So there'll be some more coming in the near future for supplemental. And then the rec cell, that is portion of the rec cells. That is the green E-Rex that we bought for the energy that we bought off a line, plus the fee that it costs AMP to sell it. So it was like 600 and some odd thousand, and then 237,000 is the portion of the green E-Rex, including AMP's fee for making it all happen. So that is the supplemental.
Any questions for Johnny? So just to be clear on the recs, because we just spent the last work session figuring out where the power actually comes from, but because of the green recs that we are buying, we can get like a certificate
100% renewable.
that says we have credit for 100% of our
Correct.
electricity is renewable.
Correct.
We know from the last presentation where it actually comes from, but the official certificate is based on the buying of
We
these
went ahead and paid extra
Yeah.
to be able to have the green E-Rex.
Yeah. Any other questions on the supplemental? Maybe I guess I'll just ask, do you expect this PFAS thing, like, will it keep paying out, or is it done?
What do you, I don't think it's done by any chance, because the big players ain't even been collected upon yet.
Yeah, and I'm not sure which, we should be opted into all of the settlements. So I would think there's still more to come. And yes, bigger companies.
But
Yeah.
no way to know how much or when, basically. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see. And this one is an emergency, right? Okay. So we do typically do public hearings on emergency legislation, so I will open the public hearing for this ordinance. Okay, and then we'll close the public hearing, and if there are any more questions, then we'll go ahead and do a roll call vote on this one.
All right. Brown.
Yes.
Shu.
Yes.
Savary.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Or Leonard.
Yes. Okay, next up, we have, so we're skipping 2026-10 and moving that to the next agenda. That's the Wells one. So now we'll go to the emergency reading of ordinance 2026-11. Judy, if you could, by title only, please.
This is establishing a village-wide moratorium on the issuance of all use, zoning, building permits, and certificates of occupancy for new smoke shop businesses for a period of 180 days and declaring an emergency.
Great, thank you. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, first I'm going to apologize. On the announcements, I should have introduced Naya Holt, our new zoning and planning director, but she is going to kick us off with this one as
Okay.
her first of many to come.
All right, welcome.
Welcome.
We're so glad you're here.
Thank you. As Johnny said, my name is Naya Holt. This will be my 5th day with the village. So, yeah, glad to be here and talking about this moratorium. I am picking up where Meg left off. So I looked through her notes and I can speak to this and give a bit of information. There are several, 7 to be exact, businesses that have tobacco, vape, CBD, cannabis-related items that they sell and produce. 5 of them have 20% of their shelf space devoted to these items and products. Only one of them has a state license based on the information that I found from fall 2025. Why this moratorium is needed, I think that also speaks to one of the questions that we received. There has been a growing number of these businesses, especially concentrated in certain areas of the village. So this will allow staff to take the time to just pause and review our regulations, review the impact that it's having on this community, and see if we need to put any regulations in place, separation boundaries for schools, any other parks, things like that. We're also looking at whether we need to review the definitions to clarify what it means when we are talking about some of these vape, hemp, cannabis-related items and businesses. And it's only looking at 6 months. It will not affect any of the businesses that are already in operation. They're going to be able to continue to operate like they are today. So we are recommending you adopt this moratorium, and if you have any questions, happy to help.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for Naya? So I have a comment that I don't think is really a question for you. So I don't, if there are other, I can just do it while you're standing there in
Yep.
case you want to comment on it. The legislation was kind of framed around like, sort of like a moral framing of like, you know, not near schools, et cetera. I was sort of under the impression that the reason was that there were just a number of these that were coming into town, and so there was just a point of, I kind of looked at like if there were that many of any kind of business that it might get to a point where it was like, wait a minute, how do we ensure there's sort of a diversity of businesses that exist? So I guess I don't it doesn't seem like the whereases matter too much, but
But that's why you had and I should have said something. I put an updated, ordinance at your place because
okay,
we had actually decided to take that whereas out,
okay,
and it got in there.
okay.
I provided a version online that has it in, but it should not be.
Okay, so you're saying that in the version that we have in front of us, the part about the,
Elementary school.
Third whereas, yeah, that
That one's
community
out.
training coming up, yes.
okay. Okay, well, that was my main, but we're all on the same page that the reason is that there's just a lot of this kind of business, and at some point it becomes not a great diversity of business, businesses that are in the downtown or anywhere in town, I guess.
Yes.
Okay, that was my only thing.
Just a quick comment. This is just from experience from friends who have kids of younger teenage and older teenage kids. Not all of the businesses that sell these kinds of products were operating within the parameters of the law. Like, not everybody was making sure that IDs were being presented, and some of the stuff got into the hands of people who are not adults. And earlier Riley mentioned Tweedledees. Tweedledees was not one of the businesses, obviously, that I don't want to say obviously that was participating in that, but some of them were kind of operating under the radar and not doing things on the up and up. So that's another reason why I would agree with I'd be in favor of this legislation.
I'll ask you one. You mentioned the licenses. Should businesses be licensed in some way if they're selling these products? And then, if so, is there any kind of, how would we know whether they are supposed to be licensed, and then whether or not there's some kind of, do we check or something? Or is it like many of the things that it would only be talked about if there was someone who made a complaint or there was something that we were made aware of?
Yeah. So to be clear, the license that I was referring to was the adult use or that type of license that is issued by the state. If we did want to go through a licensing process, or we would consider that, or if we wanted to go through a conditional use. It really depends on what is the best course of action for this community. We can look at business licensing, but it will just be what we can do with staff capacity. If that answers your question.
I think, too, really quickly, I want to add, so it looks like it seems like the Ohio legislature did a thing in March that would make this kind of moot. But there are lawsuits on the horizon that are happening that might unmoot a moratorium like this. Unmoot's not a word, but reverse it.
We all
There's some
understood it.
class action laws, like there's some pretty big lawsuits. Several companies have, sued states for trying to override federal law, and they're winning. So tides might be turning.
And it's the perfect time for us, to pause to see what's happening at all levels, our state, federally, to figure out what's the right course of action for the village.
Yeah, I think I might be repeating versions of what Gavin and Carmen already said, but I think I've heard a lot of interest from the community about this. I don't think it's, focusing on any specific business, but it's the bigger picture and also the industry as a whole. So we know that the vape industry has targeted young people, and we know that certain products are designed to look like candy. These are just things about the industry as a whole that I think we need to be mindful of, and there needs to be protections for kids and young people. And I grew up in Colorado, and when the legalization happened, there was unintended consequences of that, and unfortunately, that really affected kids, right? So I appreciate this because I think it's an acknowledgement that there's learning that's happening in an industry that is growing, and we're just trying to be mindful of it.
These are just comments, but I think the way I view it is moratoriums are seldomly meant to be used as permanent bans. That's what this, I think the overarching conversation here is that this is a pause in an ever-changing environment that allows us to digest what is happening and then digest and represent, that sounds gross, but to kind of understand what's happening with the ecosystem and then move forward. I think one of the larger questions, as someone who has worked in the cannabis industry before, is, and from an economic development perspective, is this idea of creating unforeseen consequences like a monopoly or competitive advantages for existing businesses. But as Ms. Nia said, Naya, sorry. There already are 7, right? So I don't believe that the moratorium is really a competitive advantage for anybody. It just actually allows companies to not have to actually add more competition, I would say, to the table, and operate as they would prior to this. So that's the lens that I was viewing it from, is that competitive advantage and monopoly, because that could be viewed from the outside as creating unfair advantages in a system such as the cannabis system, where competitive advantages are very real right now. So that's my 2 cents.
Great. Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you. So similar to our previous emergency reading, we're going to open the public hearing for this emergency reading. So the public hearing is hereby open. Yeah.
Can I just stand?
Good. Just so everybody can hear you, thanks.
Just don't touch
But don't touch it.
I'm not gonna even, I'll just look at it.
And by everybody here, I mean especially the people at home.
I guess when Carmen brought up about, there's been some issues with minors, how's that currently handled? Is that handled by a formal complaint made by a villager? I'm just wondering, or do our police officers have the right to investigate if they, there's word out there that a particular business is not complying? I would ask that you clearly define that.
Cool, thank you. And it's related to what I was asking, I think. Is it just on a complaint basis, or is there?
It is on a complaint basis, and Amy, correct me if I'm wrong, but this business is regulated by the USDA, is that right?
Well, it's the
Or the
USDA
ag.
Farm Bill.
It's the ag,
And it's
right.
ag, but as far as, it's like if you sell a beer to someone that's under 21.
Right.
It's not, Yellow Springs Police, PD can't go and bust into a business because that's a state thing, right? So it would be complaint driven, but what would that have to do with, it wouldn't have anything to do with our law enforcement, would it?
I mean, I think it could if the state is looking into somebody's license or looking to
Sure.
maybe investigate particular complaints against a certain business. Maybe
Okay.
then our law enforcement will be involved. And all of it changed.
Yeah.
Like you said, right? It's all changed recently in the last few months in terms of what can be sold and how the products. I don't know. That's probably a question better directed to the chief. But now that will be a moratorium in place, it'll give everyone time to look at
Okay.
all of the practices. And, to speak to licensing a minute ago, there's just, for the purpose of clarification, right, there's licensing at a state level or a federal level, but then there's also the potential that the village itself could enact a licensing scheme. Dating back to even before Naya was here, when I was working on this with Meg, we had discussed the possibility of licensing and just local licensing and decided that that wasn't something the village was looking to do at this time. But it doesn't have to be off the table if that's something that the village wants to do. It just can be very time-consuming for staff.
And I remember Paige was having issues because they had to prove that what was given to the kids had the certain amount, and it was a big testing facility, and it was a whole mess. So it was more of an education to the owners than it was criminal stuff.
And I don't think I'm hearing, just to your point, Amy, I don't think I'm hearing from council an interest in, setting up some licensure system. I think what there's pretty wide agreement of is trying to figure out, what do you do about density? Like if there's so many of one kind of business, how do we address that or cover that? And I'm not entirely sure what we would do in the code for that, but.
Well, we'll get 6 months.
Yeah, 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, I think, part of what's going to come out of that for us is this learning of like what's described on this paper is like, there's so many different categories and understanding like what's 18, what's 21, or like, which one does require what type of federal USD. I think, I know we've been doing a lot of charts so far in 2026. It feels like there's somewhere where it could be helpful for the community, for all of us here to understand what does this actually include and what are the different types.
Yeah, and so at some point, clarifying, what does a resident do if they're hearing about, or they have a concern about, a business improperly selling products, then who do they call? Like, what should they do? Okay, any other public hearing comments? All right, I'm going to close the public hearing. Any other questions or comments from council? Okay, Judy, if you could call the roll, please.
Yes, indeed. Pierce.
Yes.
Samari.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Shu.
Yes.
DeVore Leonard.
Yes. Okay, and then the next one, if you could read Resolution 2026-23 by title only, please.
This is resolving payroll review matters.
Okay. I think this one's me. So this is just the sort of cleanup in the process of doing contracts and evaluations last year. We wanted some more clarity about how some of the payroll systems worked. So we did a review that was looking back 5 years. We found what I would consider to be minor issues that this legislation cleans up around underpayment, overpayment, and then interpretation as is in the legislation. And then I think the combination of the PPM changes where and then this work, I think we're essentially creating a fair and consistent process that we're using for payroll, then updating payroll systems, and then the other minor steps to make sure that we're sort of on track with how our payroll systems work. I think this is just sort of a cleanup and following up on the review that we started last October. Are there any questions about this resolution?
And Gavin, lest I forget, you do need a motion.
Oh, okay, sorry, my bad. Could I get a motion?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, now everything I just said, imagine I said it after I just asked that, and then are there any questions about this resolution? All right, hearing none. This is we can voice vote, right? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? All right, and we are moving on to special reports, of which there are none, so we are moving on to the manager's report. And I think this is Elise with the goal progress update.
Good evening, Elise Jardulos, Assistant Village Manager. Okay, so at the beginning of the year, council began the process of establishing goals, 2026 to 2027, and that has really served as a framework for the work that we have continued since then. The last goals update that staff provided was actually in December, and that was off the previous council's goals. So this is the first update since then. I do want to begin by saying that 2 items have come off of this goal list, so I want to speak to those: the personnel policy manual and the new village website. So the personnel policy manual, that was adopted by council, and it will actually go into effect for employees this Wednesday, June 6th. So that work is now complete, but the final remaining task on the administrative side is bringing back an exhibit to the PPM, and that exhibit is going to house all job descriptions for all village employees. So that will be coming to you soon, but that will be like the final, we're done with the manual. As for the village website, staff has been working with our website partner, Revise. We are currently in the final stage of development, quality control. So once that's complete, we're going to need a short internal period to sort of finalize setup and content. But we are planning to present the new website to council at either the first or second meeting in July. So sometime in July. So exciting stuff coming there. So in the packet, you'll find the goals document with a new fourth column titled Actions Taken / Progress. So that sort of provides context on where each goal stands and the progress thus far. So going forward, and I'm sorry, Riley, this is bad news for you, we are going to do manager's report first meeting of the month. We're going to do a goals update, and then the second meeting of the month is the full manager's report, where you get all of the departmental updates. So I'm not going to go through every single one, but happy to take any questions that council has.
Anybody got any questions? Great, thanks, Elise.
Thank you.
All right, now moving on to old business. The final village goals review. Elise, you're listed on this one too.
I don't know why I left. So building on that, so the next item in your packet is the updated goals document. So council members were asked to rank each goal from 1 to 19, with 1 being the highest priority. Those rankings were then grouped into 6 priority tiers to help translate individual rankings into a more usable structure for planning and implementation. So in the version you have in front of you, those priority tiers are now reflected visually through beautiful color coding. Thank you, Cameron, for the assistance with that. And so that kind of shows collectively how this work has been prioritized. So it doesn't change the substance of the goals themselves, but it does sort of provide a clearer framework for staff as we begin to work through those. So happy to answer any questions on this as well.
Cool. Anybody got any questions? All right, thanks, Elise. Appreciate it.
That's great.
So I guess I'll just, on the goals, just to say, I think we're done effectively now, and then it doesn't mean that if you ever want to make changes, you can't bring it up in future agenda, but otherwise we'll sort of work off of these for, I assume we'll do some kind of check-in at the beginning of 2027, but they're 2-year goals through the end of 27 is the plan. Okay, and then next up is Angie on draft housing retreat agenda. Angie, go ahead.
Okay, so we have our second housing retreat coming up on Thursday, June 25th. We have 4 hours scheduled for that compared to last time, which I believe was 7. And so my plan is just to run through this real quick. And something that's different with this one is that we've really tried to hone in on a responsible party for each of the topics so that there's a clear contact, and also moving forward that it'll just make it for ease of checking in. So these were also reformatted like we did with the overarching goals depending on priority. So goal number 1, and I will say the goals that were highest priority have 45 minutes each to discuss, and then after the break in the afternoon, those goals have less time, I believe 20 minutes. And like last time, I think, we had really good flow. When we hit that 45 mark or 25 mark, we will move on to make sure that we talk about everything that we've decided to put on the agenda. But like last time, I think there's natural places where if we're not taking up all of our time, we'll be able to use that at the end, have a parking lot of topics that we want to touch back on. So the first one will be developing a clear data-driven housing strategy. We talked about this at length at the last retreat, so I will be preparing information for the packet that everyone will be able to review in advance. A big one is going to be hopefully having content from the Bowen study that will be in the packet that we'll be able to review in tandem with our drafted mission statement. The second one is advancing priority village-led housing initiatives. Johnny's going to take lead on this, and it's really going through, those topics are the goals that we laid out. So looking at each one, checking in about where we're at, what needs to happen, next steps. Goal number 3, strengthening policies and tools for rental housing management. Stephanie has been doing work on this, so Stephanie will be the point person, bringing some background information, what has been collected or different ideas, and then, and sharing that. Goal 4 is the prioritizing of environmental sustainability and energy efficiency into housing-related decisions. This is Carmen's lead, and we've talked about 2 topics: zoning code, potential amendments, and then white papers, a white paper from Environmental Commission. So Carmen will be giving us updates on those 2 sub-goals. Goal number 5 was looking at our zoning code, and we are all thrilled that Naya is going to be at this retreat with us. So we're going to really just pass this section to Naya to share from her experience and knowledge. We put it on the agenda, and then even at the last retreat, we were like, well, it depends on the new hire. So we don't really have too many specifics there. Goal 6, looking at Lawson-Place apartments, checking in about the pro forma. That will be from Johnny. Goal 7 was looking at the vacant property options, and Sinai took point on that. And then the last thing we're going to do is revisit what we touched on last time, was the format and next steps and how we want to work. We've been, it's in action. We've been doing retreats, and then these ideas about having work sessions or building these goals into our regular council meetings, a departure from the commission format. So we're making time to touch back on that, like we said we would. And thank you for the staff. Also, they took our 2026, 2027 housing goals, put it in the same format as the overall goals. And I wanted to mention, I believe, right, this is public. So the public, right, this is like, the public can attend. It's open to the public, but there will not be an opportunity for the public to speak at this meeting.
Correct. And like all, I assume the meeting will be recorded, it'll be put on YouTube. Anyway, yeah. Awesome. Any questions for Angie or about the retreat agenda? All right, thanks, Angie.
Oh, and just clarifying, Judy, for the packet, can we confirm the deadline if any of you guys are sending in information about your subject, your topics for the packet? I think we said the 13th. 18th.
17th would be fantastic, in case anyone wants to take an extra day off because you're bumping up against Juneteenth. Usually get it
So we'll
out
say
in
the
20.
17th, please.
Right, I wrote it down.
17th. Send Judy information for the packet.
And do you mind sending a reminder email to everyone a couple days before?
I'll do it
Thank
a
you.
week prior.
Cool.
Thank you.
Okay.
Great, thanks.
Thanks, Angie.
All right, thank you. Okay, so the next item was new business, and this is consideration of feeding deer inside village limits, and this is Carmen. Go for it.
So I did submit a letter for the packet, speaking directly to how detrimental it is to feed deer, period, but especially in the village limits. And yes, we like our garden plants. Yes, we want to be able to grow things we want to grow. Yes, we like our hosta. But when we encourage deer to congregate, especially like we do feeding stations, like face-to-face feeding, apples, corn, and any of that kind of stuff, it's a prime breeding ground for spreading diseases. What I have in the packet goes into a lot more detail, but some of the things that we see when deer are crowded and feeding face-to-face versus in a herd manner and kind of roaming around and grazing is that chronic wasting disease can spread, and that is spread through saliva, feces, and urine at the feeding site. I tried to describe it to my kid, and he was like, well, what's that mean? I was like, okay, say I have a cold and I have a plate. And I'm like, hey, everybody let's eat off the same plate with our hands, or just with our faces. We're gonna spread that cold. Except for deer, it's an incurable fatal disease that basically turns their brain, puts holes in their brains. And so there was they were calling it zombie deer a couple years ago. But this is what happens. And the prions that are these misformed proteins get into the soil and they stay there for years. And so in order to get rid of them, you have to remove the soil. They just stay there pretty much indefinitely, which can lead to more outbreaks. The other thing that happens, especially in the winter, is deer have a highly adapted digestive system. They are made to eat sparsely, but eat a lot, sometimes 9 to 12 pounds for a doe, a nursing doe. But it's grass, twigs, stuff that they forage for, stuff that they have to work for. So you expend a lot of energy eating a lot over a long period of time. And when we set up feeding stations, or when people feed corn especially, the carbohydrate load gets to the point where it's indigestible for the deer and it can ferment in their stomach, and it causes basically starvation and dehydration, because any water that the deer is drinking goes to trying to digest that food, and they can't do it. And so we have, we see deer that are found with full bellies, but they're gone. Lyme disease. So I've had 3 friends in the last 18 months that have been diagnosed with Lyme disease. They're always in the Glen, they're always hiking. There are preventative measures that we can use, but no amount of DEET or socks up to your neck is going to get every single tick every single time. And the deer carry black-legged ticks, but the deer aren't the vectors for Lyme disease. That's mice who are following deer, eating, grain, and those ticks bite the mice, and then that's what gives us Lyme disease. So we have more deer across the state. We have more instances, more concentrated population of deer, more instances of Lyme disease. So it's, I really just want to impress upon people that it seems like a very kind thing to do, and it seems like a nice thing to do, and it's great for like Insta. People want to pose with deer or whatever, but it's not healthy or safe for the deer to encourage this kind of feeding behavior. But like this whole big this paper, this thing that this is like 2 days worth of like scholarly articles, Ohio State, ODNR, all over the place, looking at places that have ordinances in place, like Wilmington, because the deer have gotten out of control. I've also had a friend whose dog was attacked by a deer to the tune of like $1,500 in vet bills. So just, if you can, take a look at the letter that I put in the packet and reconsider feeding the deer.
Thank you.
What a downer. Look, bringing those, I know, right?
There's a little bit
Yeah,
baby in
totally.
my backyard this morning.
Right, and that's the thing, it's
And
like, it seems like such a kind thing to do, and it's just like, ugh. Not if we're spreading diseases and making them sick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think we're on to future agenda. So
We're gonna be out of here soon. I can't wait.
The stuff that I heard, so obviously we're off June 15th. The stuff that I heard from the meeting was revisiting the wells thing.
As like a new business item?
New business item, yeah. And then, I guess so, right? Yeah. There was enough questions that, and there's no rush, right? So new business is fine. And then, I know we're gonna add the solicitor contract for the next meeting. And then, I heard the piece around the exhibit for job descriptions. I don't know if is it next meeting or?
I would say second meeting in July.
Okay,
So give me a little bit more time. Yep.
cool.
Thank you, Gavin.
Yep. Are there any other future agenda items?
I did put on the agenda planning for stormwater, for engineering, for choice one. We got all the information for the OPWC and all that. So we'll just need to bring it so you guys can say go forward.
Okay.
It's in the budget. It's in the budget. It's a grant, well, it's our shared cost of the grant that we received. So we just need permission to move forward with the contract.
Okay, so resolution.
Yep.
The other thing, I think it was maybe in maybe it was in the goals, I guess I could have brought it up here, but the strategic plan, so nobody sent any edits or anything to RFQ, right? So I assume we're just finishing it and putting it out, and then so I'll just work with y'all to get that done, and then I think probably it doesn't really need to be at the next meeting, but at some point, we need to talk about the selection committee and that kind of stuff. So maybe we put it on the second meeting in July. That makes sense?
Yep.
Any other future agenda items?
I don't know if this is an agenda item, but I forgot to bring up Stephen Green when he came last week to comment about the glass farm. Is that something that we need to continue? Because that was an actual ask. It wasn't.
It's on the agenda.
It's on, yeah,
Oh, was it? I missed it.
the walnut trees.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, the other ones that are on the 6th are, so we'll have a executive session doing the clerk and village manager eval check-in, then resolutions about walnut trees and about utility policy for village-owned rental properties, and then the consideration of updates to the village mediation program. Was that just a placeholder, or did y'all already meet, or you have a meeting scheduled?
Have not met.
Okay, so let's just take that off until y'all communicate back proactively that you need to bring it up. Does that sound okay? Okay, any other future agenda items? All right, I think we can do a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Second.
All right, aye.
Aye.
Thanks, everybody.